morning, guys. Today is the day that I go and pick up the keys to the new shop. I am so super excited. I'm just finished packing up an order that I received yesterday, so we're going to drop that off at the post office on the way. I need my trusty little screwdriver to take down there as well. I actually bought this specifically when I was breaking the Cleveland shop down, and it is the best thing I think I have bought. It's just a little Adobe rechargeable screwdriver. I've got quite bad hands. They get very sore. I can't grip onto things for too long. You know, if I'm doing the same action with my hands, they get really sore, and they actually swell up quite quickly as well. So I bought myself this little screwdriver because unscrewing things and using the big drill can really hurt my hand, and it has been fabulous. It is so good. It is just a screwdriver and not a drill, so I do still need to occasionally use the drill to get screws into walls and things like that, but for building furniture or dismantling stuff, absolutely brilliant. I think I paid about $79 for it. I know it was less than 80. It was between $70 and $80, and I absolutely love it. So that is coming down to the shop with me. I also have my folder, which has been peppified. Look what she's done to my folder. I went out to IKEA yesterday to go and pick up some new bits to go in the shop. I caged off the section of the room. We kind of leave a little bit of the room in here for her. If you didn't catch the last video, we have a new puppy. Her name's Pepper. But I cage off that end of the room so she can actually come and go from outside to inside. She has what is called white skin on her belly, so I want her to be able to access indoors, so she's not out in the sun sunbaking and that sort of thing, because having a white belly, she's very prone to getting sunburn, which can ultimately lead to sun cancers later on in their life. Same with humans. So I left her in here, and I got home from my IKEA run to find that she'd got this folder off the bookcase, had a real good nibble. There were all these recipe things inside it. She half destroyed one of them, which was okay because I didn't particularly use that recipe, and all the really important stuff, thankfully, she didn't chew up, because one of them is actually handwritten notes, which is not backed up on the computer, so thankfully she didn't destroy that. The rest of it actually is backed up. Puts a whole new meaning to losing files. We go back to the old-fashioned way of losing files by physically losing them. Anyhow, so yeah, she had a bit of fun while I was at IKEA. So today what I'm going to do when I head out is I'm actually going to leave her in the backyard, and I think I'm going to be the one more upset because I'll be on edge. She can't get out. I know in my head she can't get out, but if I got home and she got out, I would be absolutely devastated. Right now she's getting her cutes on. We went for a massive walk so I could tire her out. She's had a big play with the neighbour's dog running up and down the fence. So I'm hoping with how tuckered out she is, we might be able to go down to the shop and go and pick up the keys and come back without too much drama. And I can't wait to get all of our soapy crates out of this room, because she has decided she really likes soap and she keeps getting into the crates and getting them out. I covered them up and she got real cranky about it, but now she's just taken to either lying on the crates or just lying on the blanket. I need to get going. I need to go and get these keys, go and get the first lot unloaded into the shop, and I'm going to take you down with me. Let's go. I have the keys, and welcome to what will be the new shop. It's very echoey at the moment because there is nothing in here, but I am sure once we've got everything in, that echo will stop. But this will be the brand new space, and I'm so super happy. Look how bright and airy it is. It is in much better condition than what the Cleveland shop was in. I am so super excited. We do have to replace that light over there with some bright white lights, to match the others, but it is looking so good. As we come in, let me come in towards the back a little bit so you can see it. We've got a really nice ramp to come up the stairs or up into the shop with. This was really important to me because a lot of the shops here in Bullcock Street actually have steps to get into their shops, which then I have a lot of customers that come with wheelchairs, have mobility issues, not necessarily in a wheelchair, but do have mobility issues. We've got a lot of people with strollers and that sort of stuff. So it was really important to me to actually have a nice flat opening into the shop, and having this ramp in here is just an absolute bonus. Over in this sort of area here will be where we set up all of the products for people to browse. And then if I come over into the corner here and turn around, you can see how busy Bullcock Street is there. As we turn around here, down the back will be where we set up the little working kitchen, so you can watch me make the candles, the soaps, the moisturisers and things like that. And as we come through this back door here, there actually is a little curtain on here, so I'll be able to close off my mess. But this is going to be where I do a lot of the storage. Yes, the floors need a really good clean. At the moment, I'll get in here with the steam mop, a little bit of bleach just to get them nice and clean and sanitized. But this will be the area where I keep all of the ingredients. I already have water in this one, which is an absolute bonus. I've got to work out how to get the dishwasher in. One of the things is I'm thinking about asking if I can remove this sink so I can put the dishwasher in there, but that's going to cost a bit of money. So I'm kind of thinking the dishwasher might just slot in front of the sink for now. I'll see how much I use it. If I'm using it a lot, then I'll put in an application to get for me to remove that sink, but it does need to be approved. Through this door is actually the sort of main area for the back of the shops, and the toilet is just right there. So even though this one actually doesn't have the toilet in the shop for me, it is literally outside of my back door. And a couple of really, really good bonuses about the shop is that down the bottom I've got secure undercover parking. It is part of the Monaco hotels here in Caloundra, so I actually do have my own undercover secure parking out the back. I have to actually use fob keys to get in here, so it's nice and secure undercover, and there's a big cage out there as well. And an absolute bonus is that I was actually shown the wrong car parking spot originally, and she's just shown me the correct one, but I'd said to her originally there was a table in the cage that I didn't need, could it please be removed? And she said she went and had a look and couldn't find a table, but there was some silver kitchenware in there, so she thought they belonged to the baker. So she asked the baker to remove them if they were his. He said they're not his because there's a bakery 2 doors down. And she took me down to have a look, and I looked at it. She said, I'll get rid of it, we'll dispose of it for you. And I looked and I said, do not get rid of that. I want that. I really, really want that. Turns out it's actually a bakery trolley. You know those really tall ones, and you slide the shelves on them? I said to her, I've been trying to get one of these for years at a decent price. I said, don't throw it out, I'll use it. I really, really want it. So finally, I think I now have one of these proper baking trolleys to cure my soaps on. I am so excited. That is an absolute bonus. Anyhow, what I need to do now is go and start bringing some stuff into the shop. I've brought some stuff down in my car. Then my mum's actually going to come down, come up to the Sunshine Coast for a few days, and she's going to help me set up in here, but I'm going to bring what's in the car into the shop now. So before I go and get the stuff from the car, I just also want to mention the agency I'm working with. They're called Hensel's, and it is just so different to the agency I was dealing with in Cleveland, sorry. I had 3 different people at the agency in Cleveland, and I never knew who I was meant to talk to, could never actually get the right one. And when I did pick one, half the time they'd be on holiday. I never knew who to deal with. But this agency, there is only one point of contact, so it's going to make it so much easier. And she is absolutely lovely. She came down to show me around, show me where things work. I didn't think I had waiting waste included with this shop, and it turns out I actually do. So she showed me where the bins are and stuff like that. It's super fantastic. And then just as she was leaving, she says, oh, I almost forgot. I've got something a little sweet just to keep you motivated while you're setting up. And she's given me this little tub of lollies as well, which is super cute. And it just makes things just so much more special. But anyhow, I better go and get the stuff in. I've got people, as usual, giving me funny looks through the window, talking to myself and a camera. I'm gonna go and get the stuff in, and yeah, let's get on with this vlog of setting up the shop. So I've got the first lot in from out of the car, and I've just given it a little bit of a sweep by the door to get rid of some of the leaves. There's a lot of dust on the floor, so there's a few little dead cockroaches as well. So what I'm going to do is when I come back down this afternoon, I will bring the vacuum and the steam mops. We can clean the floors really well. I'm also going to get hubby to mix me up some pest killer stuff, some indoor pest spray, and I'm going to spray all the edges of the space just to make sure that there actually isn't a cockroach problem. We can get rid of them, get on top of them. Now, one of the things that you really do need to do when you are taking on a new premises like this, everything looks, you know, so exciting and fresh and stuff, but what you do need to do is go around and take photographs of everything that may become a potential problem in the future, and I'll show you some of them. So here's one thing on the floor here. We can see there is a big mark in the floorboards. So I'm going to be taking photos of those so that when it comes time to me to vacate, if they say the floors are damaged, I can say, well, that was damaged when I came in. There is also a hole in the wall. I think what the people before me did was maybe had telephone wires that they thread through into the back area, but I am going to take photos of it. I probably will actually patch that up myself. Other things that I'm kind of going to take notice of as well, and you're not going to see them once the shelf is up. See, there's another mark down here on the floor there. It doesn't look like much on the camera, but there is actually a huge chip out of the floorboard, so I'll be taking photos of that. And then you can also see on the wall here, it does look like there's been some sort of damage there, so I will be taking photos of that, so if anything comes up on that one later on, we know what it is. It actually does feel a bit damp, so it's almost like, oh, in fact it's very damp, so there is water in there. So I probably actually will contact the agent and let her know that that wall is actually damp and there is water damage there. So that's all little things that you do need to do when you're taking on a new shop, so that you don't become responsible for it. So if I don't report that that wall is wet and we end up with a burst wall or something, I could be responsible for actually fixing it. But if I let the agent know now, then there should be no problems at all if anything does happen, because I've alerted them. Anyway, I'll actually get onto the agent now. Gosh, I'm really red. Get onto the agent now. I'm going to go home, get another lot packed up into the car and wait for my mum to arrive, and then we will get on to the fun part of constructing stuff. Alright, so I forgot to bring the camera back down with me yesterday afternoon, but Mum's here helping me put things together, and we got into it packing or making up all of these kitchen cabinets, which are from IKEA, and then I bought down a couple which were in the old shop, and we're just going to start putting all these together and hopefully forming the kitchen area. And it's Sunday afternoon. I haven't done a lot of videoing of the setting up. I've had my mum here helping me, and it's kind of one of those things, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so it's a bit hard to actually ask someone else to do things as well at the same time. So rather than worrying about working out what to tell my mum to do and what I was going to do and videoing, I just kind of got on with the job. I'll let you know what we've done so far. So we've got the what will be my kitchen packing sort of area. This is going to be the point of sale, so I'll have all of my computer and everything set up. This side of the cabinet will have some shelves with some stock on, and then we'll put some backing boards on here. When Mum and I got home yesterday from the shop, I went and got these pine boards from Bunnings. I used them in the other shop as well. I've cut them all down to size for all my different benches, so they're all ready to put on. Hubby and I have just bought down a ton of ingredients to come into the shop here. He's just actually fixing the shelves to the wall for me so that they don't come down, but we've brought down a whole heap of ingredients. It looks a bit of a mess right now because it's just like, get them in there, I'll sort them out later. So it's all starting to come together really well. For the next few days from Tuesday onwards, I will be working by myself, so I'm going to be bringing stuff down, starting to put stuff in here, and it's going to start to take a little bit more shape. I have got the maintenance man coming down because this mark on the wall that was over here, I have said that I'm pretty sure there's water behind it, so the maintenance team are going to come out and have a look at that on Wednesday or Thursday for me. I had hoped to open up by the weekend, but having to wait for the maintenance team, it's not going to happen. But if that's water behind the wall, I need that fixed before I open. So we'll get on to unpacking a few more things and seeing where we go. Alright, it is Tuesday. It is cold, wet, miserable, grey, disgusting out there. I am by myself down here at the shop, so hubby's back at work. He's actually got a job at the Australia Zoo Crocodile Hunter Lodge, so that's the accommodation side. He took me for a drive through the other day. It looks absolutely beautiful. Such a great job for him as well. He seems really happy, which makes me happy. Mum's gone back home as well, so she's helped me do as much as she can. As I think I said it the other day, I'm at that sort of point where I've got lots of stuff to do, but I don't know exactly where I'm putting things, so I need to get all my cabinets sort of put together and then start bringing stuff down and working out where I'm going to put them to be able to best work with them. And at that sort of stage, it means I can't really say, well, I've got this and I need it to go there. I'm kind of just doing it as I'm going and seeing where it kind of naturally goes. So she's gone home because she can't really be of too much help, but what she has helped me with has been fantastic. So for the next few days I'm by myself. I'm going to be able to do a fair bit more filming for you. Today's task, we're going to start putting all these cabinets together, getting the tops on and also the fronts on here as well. Now some of these cabinets did come from the old shop, so these three are from the old shop here, and all the others are new cabinets. And I also had these ones that came out of the old shop from the kitchen. There was another cabinet where the sink was, but that one had a bit of water damage on it, and I just decided to get rid of it, not bring old problems with me. Hubby and I did put this section together yesterday, and just because this set was actually quite heavy and awkward to deal with having all the drawers in, and they're a little bit fiddly to get in and out, so I got him to help me. Now I know that my bench top should actually sit over the tops of the drawers, but one of the problems in here, it's going to be pretty hard to see it on the camera, around the edge of the wall there's actually a slant, and that's because they've had food and beverage in here before, or food establishments in here, and one of the sort of health and hygiene things is that you shouldn't have 90-degree angles on your walls, so these have all got that slope, so it makes it easier to clean. The problem was I couldn't actually push my benches far enough back so they sat against the wall, so I had to make a decision. Did I want to have my drawers in front of my top, or did I want this much gap at the back here and lose all sorts of stuff. So I decided I wanted to have my drawers overhanging. That was something I could deal with easier. So hubby and I did that bit, and then today I'm going to put all of these together. So these cabinets are, as I said, they're the same as what I was using in the other shop. They are the Method kitchen cabinets from IKEA, and I actually use their planner to work out exactly what I want and where. And once I've got it all worked out, I just say add to basket, and it adds in absolutely everything I'm going to need to actually get my cabinets together. So it's really, really good, easy system. I'm not using them as they are intended. They do tell you not to use them as island benches and that they should be connected to walls and things like that. But I have got some safety aspects under them. You can see I've got these on here, which actually stops them from falling if anything does happen. But it is not what IKEA recommend you to do. So keep that in mind. I'm being naughty, but they are very, very stable once they are together. What I do have to do, originally I had these stupid plastic feet on them, and the plastic feet are not good for these cabinets. They are too heavy to be put onto plastic feet, but now they do these little metal feet. So I actually splashed out and I got those metal feet to go on the bottom. So I need to actually take these plastic ones off here and put the metal ones on there. It's going to go on the end, and then we're going to start putting this lot together. Oops, I think I'm a little bit out of practice with the camera after having so many weeks off without filming. I've discovered I've been forgetting to push the record. I've been positioning the camera so you can't see what I'm actually doing, but I have actually just put together the point of sale counter, and I am so super happy with it. So this will be where the computer goes with all the point of sale stuff, so all the bags. I actually saw this kind of setup when we were in IKEA one day, and they had like a point of sale counter set, and I absolutely fell in love with the design. So I did it to suit me. I have actually this time put in a proper drawer to put all the tissue paper in. I've just dropped it down a level so I can put a fair few in and easily just grab it out. I didn't want a handle on the drawer, so I didn't walk by and keep knocking my hip with it. All the big printers will go under there, and then I'll have all the bags and everything. I've got some shelves to go in there. And you can see that this one is actually inset a little bit. One of the things I said to hubby when I set up the new shop is I actually want to make my computer area a little bit more comfortable to work at. Quite often I have lulls in the shop where I could actually be doing some of the admin work, and I never did it because it was so uncomfortable to sit at the computer the way I had it. When I saw this set up in IKEA, I thought that's brilliant, having that little bit of tucked in area. They weren't using it to sit at, but I figured I could now actually put my chair there, sit there, get my knees underneath the bench, and I won't be kind of sitting in a really awkward spot. I can do some more admin work while I'm in the shop and then actually have more free time at home. I forgot to record so much of the front of building this actual countertop. This is what it looks like from the front. So my mum actually spotted these paneling pieces in Bunnings when we were in the other day. It's just a melamine piece with a decorative front on it, and I asked Bunnings to cut the pieces for me so that they're nice and straight and even. So I've liquid nailed and then nailed that to the back of those cabinets, and then this is the other side of that little narrow one, so I can actually put a couple of extra things on the shelves. I'm then going to actually put a pegboard on here to hide the back of the computer when people come up the ramp here, but that is the new point of sale or the checkout counter. I took into account some of the feedback that I was given in the last shop, and one of those pieces of feedback was my counter was too short. It was literally probably, I don't know, about half of the length that this one actually is, and so many people said there was just not enough room for everyone to put all their things, because what I tend to find is that people go around picking stuff up and leaving them on the counter. I do have shopping baskets and things, but people just prefer to pick them up and put them in little piles on the counter. So this time I've actually really extended how wide this is. It is literally twice the size of what I've had. So basically I'll probably only have my computer stuff up to about here, giving the rest of the counter as a place to put your goodies. I was going to be really cheeky and kind of put marks on the lines for pile 1, pile 2, but I've just figured I'm going to leave it like this because it won't make sense to people up here. It would only make sense for those of you in Cleveland. I do now have to get on to putting this lot together. I'm just waiting for the electrician to turn up. And when he does, I'm going to make sure that he's okay for me to put all this together. It's not going to be in his way, because I want a couple of PowerPoints going across the back there. So hopefully I can actually then get on to putting this together and it won't be in his way. He should be here in about 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm actually going to get started by, first of all, drilling these together, or putting screws in so that they hold these together. At the moment they are loose, so each one moves. So what we've got to do is put some screws in through the side to hold it all together. I'll then work out how to put my board on to the backs of them, and then we'll get the tops on and screw them in place, and then hopefully we'll have some nice work area. Alright, so I'm in a little bit of a dilemma because I asked them to cut the wrong size of my boards. These big sheets come in a piece which is 1200 by 2400 mil, and for some reason when I was getting them to cut it, I thought it was only 2200 long, which is what some of my bench tops are. So when I got them to cut this first piece over here, I had them cut it to height, and then I got them cut 1400 off for that front panel, and I said, have I got 801 left? Because usually they're 1 centimeter longer than what they say on their thing. And he measured it. He measured this piece and he said, yes, 801. And I said, great, can we cut this piece to 17.99? So then I would only have 2 panels in there. I'm looking at this thinking, this is a little bit too big. And of course, it's 20 centimeters too big, because it wasn't 2200, it was 2400 long. So I can, in fact, I'm going to have to cut this myself because I can't take it back down to Bunnings now. Problem is, when you cut melamine, you actually need a really fine saw tooth blade on your saw, and I do have a circular saw at home, but it has a wider tooth on it, so I might have to stop at Bunnings on the way home and pick up a fine tooth blade. Otherwise I'm just going to have to get the hacksaw out and do it by hand instead. It's a real bugger. You know that old adage of measure twice, cut once? Well, I had measured. In fact, I measured several times, but I just had the wrong measurements in my head. But oh well, it is what it is. I am really pleased with how it's coming together. I do have to take that piece home and get it fixed. That's the other piece of offcut, and that one's 20 centimeters too short. So I'm going to need one in the middle there. But anyhow, I will have to take it home and get it done. I should actually be able to put my bench tops on though before I go, so that when I come back down tomorrow, all I'll have to do is put that panel on the front. So I think that's what we might do next, is actually put the bench tops on first. Alright, so I am back. I managed to find a fine blade, a fine tooth blade for the jigsaw at home. So I was able to get this one cut. It looks like I've been able to cut it, so that's going to just slide in there. Excellent, that's looking really good. I also got a message from the agent. I think it was basically said just as I left here, saying that the maintenance man was coming round to fix the wall for me, and now that I'm back, that's all been fixed. So brilliant, I can now get all the candles racks together and start putting stuff out. But for now I'm going to finish attaching this, get the tops on, and then we'll decide how much time we've got left and what I'm going to do next. Time I had these wooden countertops in the shop, I was wiping them down with a wood oil coating sort of thing. I had to do it every 6 months, and it was a little bit of a pain to do. And this time around I've decided I'm going to actually put a clear varnish. This is a benchtop clear varnish, satin. It's water-based, so it should be nice and easy to use, and it's food safe as well, because I will be packaging certain things. Most of the stuff I make will be done on the stainless steel tables, but then I might be actually bottling and stuff on the wooden tops. So I want to make sure it was a food grade safe varnish, and I only really want to do this once. So this was sort of the best option. It is meant to be low smelling, easy to clean up and stuff. I've decided I'm going to put a coat on here now. It's just gone 3:15 and I'll be heading home soon. But I decided I'll put a coat of this on now because I'm not coming in until late tomorrow afternoon, if at all. We've got some work that needs to be done at the house. I'm waiting for the Miele people to turn up and fix the steam oven, which happens to be broken. I had a message to say they'd be at the house between 8 AM and 11 AM. It would be really nice if they are there by 8, because then I'm thinking I can nip down to IKEA and go and get the rest of the shelving that I need, and then I can come in for the afternoon. But I'm not holding a breath. I'm going to expect them to arrive at 11 and stuff up my whole day. But it is what it is. So I thought, well, if I do this today, by the time I get in tomorrow, this should be nice and dry and I can put another coat on it. And then after 2 coats, it should be fine for me to use. So I'm going to start doing that. Alright, it is the next morning. I am at home. I have had to change my plans a little bit, but not too much. I got a message this morning. I actually got my message late yesterday afternoon saying that the technician to fix our oven will be here between 8 and 11 and will give me a half-hour notice that they're about to arrive. Well, I got a message at 7:45 this morning, and I'm thinking I can't be that lucky that they're going to arrive first thing in the morning. Of course I wasn't. Instead, the message said, your technician has called in sick. We'll call you to rearrange a time. It's like, oh, seriously? The problem with it being is that at the moment, because the shop's not open, I was pretty flexible, and their only days they come to our area to service are Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So I was pretty flexible. They could come any of the days, any of the times. It was going to be fine. Now that they're going to have to reschedule, by the time I reckon they reschedule it, I'll have the shop open and I won't be as flexible. Pretty much the only day will be Mondays that they can come out to do the oven, because I'm not closing the shop for one of those other 2 days, only to then be let down again. So really quite cross about it, but what can you do? You know, these technicians, they do as they please. I get it, people are sick, but surely they've got more than one technician on, you know, on the payroll. Anyhow, let's not whinge. I am still going to stay home for the majority of the day because it is chucking it down. For those of you who are living in the Brisbane area, today is actually the Brisbane Eka Show Day. I've already seen that quite a number of events have been cancelled. Things like the Crazy Day Markets, which I always used to be a part of, that has been cancelled for the day because apparently it is really, really wet down in Brisbane and the winds are getting up high. Winds are always here for the Eka. We always get the westerlies at this time of year, so it can actually be very, very dangerous doing the markets. But all that's been cancelled. I know there's been heaps of stuff in the news about the Eka and being sick and all that sort of stuff, but it is raining and miserable up here, so it does make it hard for me to actually get stuff into my car and unpack it at the other end so it doesn't get wet. My car park is in an underground undercover car park, and there is a lift that I've been told I can use, but I'm a little bit hesitant because I worked in the hotel industry for just over 15 years, and this lift is kind of one that the guests can access as well. And in my head I'm going, no, you can't use it, this is a guest lift, but I have been told I can use it. But I also don't want to be ferrying up 4 or 5 trolley loads of stuff, because to me it just doesn't feel right. Unless you've worked in the hotel industry and know sort of the rules of what you can and can't do, it wouldn't really make sense. But to me, if I was a guest paying to stay in a hotel, I don't want to see someone trucking trolley loads of stuff up and down the lift. So that's my choice. There is like a loading zone out the front of my shop, and I have been using that to pull up and unload, but in this rain everything's going to get wet. Some of the things actually stick out the back of the truck as well, so they get wet, and being wood, yeah, you don't want that wet. So what I have decided to do, long way to say it, I'm still going to stay home for the morning. I have a few things I need to do. One of the things I noticed yesterday while I was setting up, people were walking by and they were curious as to what was going on, and they kept looking up at a sign that's actually up on the eaves of the building, and it's got the previous business's details in it. And the reason they left it up there is because it's one of these electrical light boxes, so at night, well, during the day you can put the light on as well, and it illuminates the sign. And when you take the signboards out of it, it leaves all those electrics open to the elements. So a lot of these businesses allow you to leave those signs in them. It's one of the reasons why when sometimes you drive past a shopping centre sign out the front, and a vacated shop will have their board actually turned around so it's inside out, it just protects all those electrics. But I did notice everyone was looking at that sign. So today my mission is to find a sign company, get a quote, design it, get it sent off to the landlord to get the design approved, and then get some signs made up so that hopefully people know what's actually going in the shop and don't think it's the previous brand. So that is my job for today. Miss Pepper is being a nightmare. I know she's looking super sweet and cute right now, but trust me, she has been a little nightmare this morning. Someone doesn't like her feet getting wet, so she's refusing to go out into the garden to go to the toilet. And so I'm watching her like a hawk, but I don't think she's going to do much right now. She can better keep those eyes open. We've had a massive play. She's been chasing the turkey around in the yard. So hopefully I can sit and do a bit of work while she sits here on the sofa. Alright, so I'm going to leave her sit there for probably about an hour and get as much work as I possibly can get done. I'll then wake her up and take her outside for another big play just to kind of really wear her out. Also try and get her to go out into the garden. It's not the actual water on her back that she doesn't like, it is the wet feet. She doesn't like, you see her picking up her paws through the water, and if she gets a bit in a bit of a puddle, she shakes her foot before putting it down. She's quite funny. But Lucy was exactly the same, so hopefully she will grow out of that as well. I'm just trying to get her used to the water and what it feels like on her feet and things like that, and then hopefully it won't be an issue in the next week or so. I am going to sit here, get as much work as I can. As I said, I'm going to get my signage all done up. I've got a couple of other things I need to send off to get approval from the landlord, and it's just basic stuff like I have to get what I want to put on my signage approved. And it's just, I know it's just my logo and my business name, but it is to stop people from putting what could be potentially offensive things on the sidewalks and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, they would have checked what my logos and everything was when they were looking at whether to have me or not, but it is still ideal to make sure that everything that's going up is what they're expecting and is, you know, aesthetically pleasing in the street. So I'll get all that done up. I do have a wholesale order to start packing up as well for those of my customers who are in the Cleveland area. I have been working with one of the local shops that was near me, and he is going to be stocking a select few items, and then once he works out what actually is wanted down there, then he will start stocking more of the different things. But for now, he's going to start off with a couple of soaps, some hand creams, some of the melts, and some lip balms. So I've got to go and pack his order for that as well and get everything ready. He's going to come up hopefully tomorrow to pick it all up from me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just got all of this computer work to do. So let me get on with it. Well, I was going to try and get as much work done as possible, but she's decided it's cuddle time. So she's come on over, she's got on, and she's just snuggled up. So she's a very, very cuddly puppy. Goodness knows what we're going to do when she's 35 kilos and 4 times this size. She ain't going to fit on my lap, that's for sure. Alright, so I'm just packing up an order that came in today. I really actually should have packed this one much earlier today. I received it around lunchtime-ish, I think. I should have packed it and taken it down to the post office this afternoon. But it has been a really wet, miserable day. There has been lots of cancellations of events. I've seen all sorts of things coming up saying if you don't need to be on the road, don't go on it and stuff like that. It's not that it's been really, really heavy rain, but it has just been constant all day. So the roads are really, really wet. Our driveway, it's quite steep and is also really, really wet, and I do struggle to reverse up it. I kind of do little skids going up the driveway, but it is easier to reverse up our driveway than for me to actually reverse back out of it. So I just thought, right, I'm not going to take the car out. We'll do this one first thing tomorrow morning. I've also got this wholesale order that I am packing up. He's confirmed he's happy with everything that's on there. It is a little remedial massage place that's just around the corner from my old Cleveland shop, and Greg is the guy that runs it, and he used to come in quite a lot and he used to come and buy things. He started buying my Refresh ointment, which he was using on his customers, and then he came in and asked if I could make a more relaxing essential oil blend in one of the ointments, and I said yes I could. So that's how the Bliss ointment came about. I actually specifically made it for Greg at the Remedial Therapy, and he's been buying tubs of that, and now he actually wants to stock some of my products in his shop, including the ointments that he's been buying from me. So he placed part of an order, and then he said, can I just fill it up with a couple of extra things that he knows that I know customers will want. So we did that, and I've got it all here, and he's actually going to drive up here tomorrow. He wants to come and see where my new shop is, so he's actually going to come up tomorrow and pick it up from the new shop. So I've got to get on to packing his. I've had a somewhat productive day today. In between Pepper's sleeps, I have been able to get, I've found a company to do the signage for me. I think I probably am paying a little bit more than what I should, but I actually felt more confident with their communications. My agent gave me a recommendation for a company that's probably about half an hour away from where I am, and I sent them a message this morning, and I wasn't expecting an immediate reply, but after, you know, about an hour and a half, when I hadn't even had a standard sort of reply, I thought, I'll see who else I can find. And another company someone had suggested was a place called the Sticker Man here in Caloundra, and they're literally a 10-minute walk from the shop. They're really not far away from it at all. And sadly, we have actually used this company before. My mother-in-law used it when we did the, when we had the celebration of life, I'm going to call it, for my father-in-law. She had all these stickers done up, she had all these posters done up as well, and the quality of work and the empathy that came out of the company, the way they worked with the family, they just seemed really, really nice people to deal with. And I thought I'm going to see if they can do what I want them to do, because someone else had actually recommended them. So I sent them a message, and within, I don't know, 15 minutes of sending that to them, they had sent me a quote. I had said what the measurements were that we would take, and they said, we'll come down and we'll double check the measurements before we go ahead with anything. And so while we're taking those measurements, what we'll do is, if you send us a logo, we'll make a complimentary coming soon sign to stick on the window, so people can actually see that you are setting up, which I thought was really nice. And then they'll come remove the old sign, install the new one, and everything else for me. So I was really quite impressed with how they came back. I sent a reply back to them saying I have to wait until my landlord approves the signage, and within, you know, very short turnaround, the messages were coming back, so I felt really confident. I did eventually this afternoon get a reply from the other company. The price was half of what I was quoted from this first one, which makes me feel really dubious about whether or not they understood the brief. I think they're thinking I need a single piece of acrylic, which is like got the logo on both sides of the acrylic, not 2 pieces of acrylic into a wide light box thing, which is why I think the pricing might be half of what the other company has quoted me. Hang on, Pepper's trying to get on her chair. Come here. She's almost at the right height to jump on this little chair, and while she's on the chair, I know where she is. So yeah, I wasn't quite confident when I saw this price, and it was really weird. I just basically got this reply email with a quote attached. So you open up the quote and it's just there. So there was no building a rapport with me. So I think even though it looks like I might be paying a lot more, I think they've understood the brief. They've given me a lot more confidence in who they are, and they get, you know, the fact that they're going to come down and double check the measurements of the sign and everything else to make sure that it's all right. Because most other companies would go, well, you gave us the measurements, it's your problem if it doesn't fit, and then you'd have to pay for another one. So I've got a lot more confidence in this other company. I've done a lot of nitpicking jobs that needed to be done. I had to renew my Costco card, so I've done that. And then there's a few other things. I've sent off all of my design briefs to the agent to get approved by the landlord. So I've sent off my light box sign. I also going to have similar decals to what I had on the door in Cleveland on the door here, so like just my logo and the creating a little bit of me time on the door. So I sent that off. I sent off my approval for the power plugs, and just generally trying to get through all these emails that I've been getting and haven't been able to get on top of. So I have been doing that. Hubby is due home soon. I mentioned before that he is now working at the Crocodile Hunter Lodge, and if you've watched any of my previous vlogs, you'll know how much I have whinged about his shifts, about how we've got sort of no stability in life, and this is one of the things that we were trying to get when we moved to get a better life. And with his new job, it's going to be so wonderful. They were really worried because they were saying, oh, we were trying to work out your days off, and the best we can do for you is Sunday, Monday. And they went, perfect, you know. One day off for himself while I'm still in the shop, one day off for us to spend together, and then I get a day off by myself. And I know that sounds really, really weird, but sometimes you need that day by yourself to just do what you want to do without having to worry about the other person. But then we can have that one day together to do what we want to do together. And we've done that in the past when we used to live outside of Brisbane, and it used to work so well for us. So looking forward to having that constant time. And then on top of that, he is just 8 till 4 is his shifts. 8 till 4 every day for the rest of the week. So we know exactly what shifts he's on. We know what days off he's got. So we can actually plan our lives, and we can actually have dinners together and stuff like that. We were so cross with his last job because he'd been on months worth of late shifts because they had a new boss who took all the early morning shifts, and he got landed all the late shifts. And when we said that we were moving, we said, look, we'd really like to keep doing the late shifts, because he was traveling from the Sunshine Coast to Brisbane, which was about 1 hour and 15 minutes. And to do the morning shift, we're going to turn that hour and 15 minutes into more than 1 hour and a half, probably closer to 2-hour trip. In fact, one of his trips was 2 hours. And they said, yep, not a problem. If you're on the afternoon shifts, we know he could get to work on time. We knew he'd get home in a decent hour. And then when push came to shove, they put him on a month worth of early shifts. And we were just like, why have you done this? And he got the whole, well, you're meant to be available for all shifts and all this sort of stuff. And we went, fine. And then he just handed in his resignation and went, not doing it, see ya. So not only that, all the other staff at the hotel handed in their resignations as well. So he's out of there. He's got this job that has given us so much stability, so much happiness. It really has been such a great thing. Anyhow, I better stop yakking because he will literally be home in about 10 minutes. I keep watching because I can actually see my driveway through there. He will be home in literally 10 minutes. So I'm going to get this wholesale order all packed up, ready to take with me down to the new shop tomorrow for Greg to come and collect. And then I do still have a couple of little things that I need to do, which I haven't been able to do while watching Miss Pepper. But once hubby is home, I'll have half an hour before I need to cook dinner. And thinking of which, I don't think I pulled anything out the freezer for dinner. Oops. It'll give me half an hour to finish off what I need to do. And then tomorrow we'll be back down the shop. And my plan for tomorrow is to start unpacking all of the ingredients into the pantry. And I'm also going to get the candle shelving all set up. So I'm going to go and get this order packed up. So as you can see, I am back down at the shop. It has actually stopped raining. It's very overcast, but it has stopped raining. So I did take Miss Pepper for a big walk this morning. I say big, we went for a 3-kilometre walk, which isn't nearly as far as I want to go, but considering she's not quite 4 months old yet, I'm really surprised she goes for that sort of length walk. And then not only that, when we get back home, she either has a massive play with the dog next door doing, you know, laps up and down the fence for about half an hour, or as she did this morning, she decided to play with her little squeaky toys in the house, and she raced around for about half an hour before she finally crashed out. So I really do want to take her for a bigger walk, but I don't want to be one of these people that takes their dog for a walk to have them sit down halfway through, and I would have to carry her, and I don't want to carry her because at the moment she's little. She's just under 10 kilos now, but she's going to be about 35, 40 kilos. So I don't want to get into the habit of carrying her home when she's had enough. So I'm not quite pushing her any further than that 3 kilometers, but hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll get up to about 5 kilometers, and that should really wear her out so I can come to work. I then got the car all packed up with all the extra shelving that was in the shed. I've brought down all the candles and diffusers. So today's aim is to start getting the candle rack set up, because that's going to kind of give people a bit more of an idea of what's coming. The rest of it still needs a lot of work, but at least people can see there are going to be candles here. And then I also want to start getting all the ingredients on the shelf in the back there. So I'm going to get started with that. I have someone coming down, or I have Greg coming down to pick up his wholesale order today. So I want to start getting things kind of a little bit tidier in here. I have just had a bit of a feel of the bench tops that I varnished. They're a little bit rough. So today I'm going to put, when I leave, I will put another coat of varnish and just go nice and slow and make sure we get a nice even coat on them. But they are looking really good so far. So really, really happy with the progress. Let's get to putting these shelves together and see if I need to start doing it, because I do need to go and get some extra things from off of IKEA, but rather than keep going, should I get this, should I get that, I'm just going to start working. Of course, IKEA are out of Ivar shelves again, probably because I have half a store in my shop here, but they are out of the shelves again, so I've had to be a little bit creative thinking. Initially what I wanted to do was, by this window here, was put the 30 centimeter wide shelving. You can see I've kind of got my spacing there, and then I was going to put some more 30 centimeter wide shelving, and then I was going to put some more 30 centimeter ones across there. But that is all the shelving I have for the 30 centimeter ones in the long shelves. I've got some little 30 centimeter narrow ones, but I kind of want to just stick to the long shelves this time. So they don't have any more of those in stock at the moment until September. So I then did a little bit thinking. I had these 50 centimeter wide shelves at home, which I did intend to bring down here, but what I've decided to do instead is use these wider shelves against the window, which then will mean I can pull my stock further in from the window so they don't get UV damage. And then I'll go and get the legs that I need to do my 30cm shelves across here. Because if I was going to do my 30cm, I'd need to be actually going to get a whole heap of them before I can do anything at all. So yeah, that's going to be the plan. I'm just kind of winging it as I go and you know, seeing what happens. It might be for now that I end up putting that 50cm wide shelving, which is what works on my candles. Might put that against the window, turn out I really hate it, and then when we get around to September and IKEA have their shelving back in again, I'll just swap them over quite easily one day. So that is the plan for today. Let me get onto it, otherwise we won't get anything done. Alright, so I've just stopped and had a little bit of lunch as a reward for putting together all of the shelving and getting what candles and diffuser or glass diffusers I have left out on the shelf. And you can see it is looking pretty bare, and I have got a lot of setting up or a lot of remaking to do before I actually open the shop. I'm hoping to get everything kind of done this week, and then I'll spend the first part of next week stocking up the shelves ready for a soft opening, grand opening on the weekend. Hopefully, if all goes well. There are a couple of things I need to do. We've pretty much kept the same format for the candles, but I did actually drop my shelves down one just to make it a bit easier. But I noticed when I was putting all my candles out that the labels on my small candles really haven't fared too well. With all the rain that we've had, there's been so much moisture in the air, and even though these were in boxes and tucked away in my she shed, which is nice and dry, the general humidity has made my labels go really disgusting. But I've been wanting to actually change the labels on my candles and my diffusers for quite some time now. I want to do them so that they match in with my other jars here. So I think I actually might use this as a perfect excuse to go and get some labels printed up to match the jars, and I'll just relabel them all. So tonight when I get home, I have had just a quick look while I was eating my lunch for the pricing of the labels. Really happy with what they're coming out at. So I thought I might just get those printed up, and then I'll get more relabeled next week and just start off with that nice, fresh, clean look. But really happy with how that's come together. So this will have some of the Bath & Body products on here. I know that those shelves don't all line up, and I'm trying to get used to the idea that the shelves aren't all perfectly straight. But the reason I've done it is because I've got a couple of products that come in the big stand-up pouches, and I just know that there is not enough space between these shelves to put them. So I thought, well, I'll have the two end ones kind of alike, and then the middle one a little bit more spaced. The other thing I have now discovered since putting this up is that this gap along here is now quite big. What I initially intended to do was put these 30cm shelves along here, but you can see there is a fairly big gap in here. Now I could, I suppose, put another one in here, but that means more shelves, and as I said, IKEA is out of them at the moment, so I've had to come up with another thought, because the one thing I have learned with having my shop is that if you've got a gap like this between shelves and someone comes in with a child, that child will get between those gaps and potentially knock things over. I had similar things happen to me so many times in the other shop. It wasn't that things got knocked over, but there were things like there was a gap between the door and where my lip balm counter was, so that people didn't open the door too much and knock it over. And I could, without doubt, guarantee that one child that came into the shop each day would try and squeeze between that gap between the door and the shelf, and it always used to just set my heart rate going, waiting for everything to come crashing down. So what I'm going to do to kind of counteract what is going on here, some really awful colour on the camera because of the way the light is, that's a bit better, I don't look so washed out. Down in this gap here, I'm going to bring my lip balm counter to put in here, because it's the same width as these 50cm shelves, and then I'll be able to kind of pretend that's the 50cm one. I'll be able to put that against the edge here, because I'm going to use some braces to hold it all together so it can't fall. This will come almost to the edge, and then what I'll do is, once we've got that going across here, this isn't going to make much sense until you see it, but if you pretend that the end of this is the end of the lip balm counter, I will then get my 30cm shelf and put that across the end as well, so it stops kids being able to get into this gap, but I'll still use some 30cm shelves across here, which will mean I don't have to worry about getting any more of these shelves, because yeah, pretty much this is all I've got left until IKEA get more in. I know that really wouldn't have made much sense the way I was explaining it, but once I get all the parts down here, I'll show you exactly what I mean, and it will make so much more sense. I do have to go down to IKEA and get these 30cm ones in this height. I've only got one of these left. I don't want to use the tall ones that I had in my shop, because if people are reaching up and they're pulling things down, there is a good chance things will topple. Because over on that one side I don't have anything to secure the shelves to, I need to be really aware of the height of things. Basically I'm going to get hubby to come down and help me secure the candle one onto the wall like I did in the other shop, because that is super heavy and I do not want it crashing down. And then to connect the other sort of shelving, I'm going to use my little L brackets. I need to go and get some smaller ones of these because these are too big. But basically what I'll do is, on the inside in here, I'm going to put some brackets and I'm going to screw them together. And then that will actually stop them from toppling, and I'm going to do that in the other corner as well, and just make sure that all the shelves are actually bracketed together to stop them from falling over. So something I am having to be very, very conscious about. I don't want to drill or screw things into the floor, because then when I leave I'd have to replace the entire floorboard, which that is expensive, so I don't want to be doing that. But now that I've done that, I am now waiting for Greg to turn up. I don't know what time afternoon is, and I am waiting for him to turn up. So what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for that is I'm going to have to start doing the shelving in here, working out where I want my things to go and that sort of thing. But before I do, there was one comment I got on social media about the colour of the walls and that I haven't gone for my peach walls. And no, I decided this time to stay with the white walls that were in this shop. From my sort of research, I think that the previous shop that was in here, which was almost like an artist shop, she only left in February of this year, I think. I think it was this year. I don't think it was last year. I'm pretty sure it was this year. So the walls are all relatively freshly painted. So I thought I would just keep it, because why paint over something? The only reason I ever really painted the walls in the Cleveland shop is because when I took that shop on, honestly, the state this shop was in was just absolutely horrendous. You guys have seen it if you've seen that vlog. The walls in that shop when I moved in were black and this sort of teal colour. Obviously, the black maybe could have got away with my branding, but I actually prefer a really dark charcoal grey instead of black. So I could have potentially got away with the black, but no way could I get away with the teal. And I knew to paint those colours was going to be a nightmare. So I thought, well, if I'm going to paint and I'm going to put that much effort into painting, well, again, if you've seen the vlog, you know there was a big debacle with the wall painting. I figured if I was going to do that, I was going to use some brand colours and, you know, see how I go. And I absolutely loved it. People loved the colours. They said it was so relaxing and all that sort of thing. And yeah, it was a good choice for that shop. However, when it came time for me moving out, I had to do the right thing. I had to put the shop back to right, which means basically painting all the walls back to white and presenting it in a blank format. And even though that wasn't how it was handed to me, it was a part of my contract, so I had to do it. And painting over that peach paint, I almost cried. It took me 3 coats of paint to get that to go white, and I swear I still thought it was light pink in that space. It didn't help that the paint that I had is a paint that I've used for years to paint with. Like, for years I've used this paint, and something's happened, and quite a number of people have said the same thing. Something has happened with this brand of paint and it just no longer paints well anymore. And after 2 coats and it was still coming through this pinky peachy colour, I gave up and I went down to the paint shop and bought a brand new pot of paint in a completely different brand, and ended up putting a 3rd coat. I know you can actually feel the difference in the coat paint as well. And I just thought, I'm not painting in another colour when I move into a shop, because this is too hard, and with how high these walls are, I would actually have to employ someone to come in and do it for me, and I just couldn't warrant the cost of it, the time for doing it and stuff like that. So I figured the walls are all nice and white, they're clean, they're fresh, let's just stick with it. And the good thing with white walls is if there is a mark on the wall, you can generally just paint back over it with a white and you don't really see it. Whereas if you've got colours, because the sun affects the colour over time, if you try and, you know, paint over a colour patch on the wall, very rarely does it actually blend in. So that is why we don't have coloured walls this time. We've just gone for the nice white. I'm just trying to find where all my oils are. So yeah, that's why we've stayed with the white. And then I figured I could actually brand it with other ways. I can have, like, there's a white curtain in here. I'm actually going to see if I can find a orange curtain or a grey curtain to really do that. And there's a few other things I'm going to do around which will actually brand it to me. And I just feel having that white, I can actually easily change it as well. So yeah, that's why. Anyhow, what I need to do is start working out where I want to put everything. I need to find where all my other oils are, because I can't find them, and work out where I want things for when I come picking and packing and stuff. And the reason this is so hard is because I have so much more space. In the previous shop, I just had one of these at 83, and then I had a little 30cm shelf, and then I had another little mini 80cm shelf as well. Whereas now I've got 3 lots of 80cm shelves, all really high, and then I've got 2 of the smaller shelves as well. So I've got so much space. I just now have to work out how to get everything in here, and I really don't know. So I'm going to stop yakking and try and work this out. Alright, so I managed to unpack everything that I currently have. You can see there's a little bit of a change here. I did have another really big, long sidebar here, which I've attached to that side, and I'm pretty sure I've got one more of these at home, which I'm going to bring down and actually put another long one on this side. As I was unpacking stuff, I'm thinking, I'm missing X, Y, Z, where are they? And then I thought, oh, there's another box at home with all of my other bits and pieces in there, like all my extracts and stuff like that. So I thought I better actually put another big long leg on here, and the idea is I'm going to bring in my little soaping trolley, which my coconut oil sits on top of, so I can actually wheel it around without hurting myself, and it's going to live under there. This shelf is so narrow and sort of skinny because we've got the air conditioner thing in there, so basically not much is ever going to sit on this shelf, so I can actually just reach in and put the air conditioner. I've got my pH meter, and these are a couple of things I've had in to have a little bit of a play with, but then I've pretty much got everything else kind of in here. I've tried to group it, so like I've got all of my oils and all of my butters in this sort of area, and then everything that I usually always use when making lotions and creams. So I've got my vitamin E, which goes into everything. We've got the preservatives, we've got the humectants and other bits and pieces, and then down here we've got all of the emulsifying ingredients. That is how we bring our oils and waters together for those that don't make lotions. I've got a few more waxes along here which can be used as part of emulsifying. We've got all of our bubbly ingredients, so this is what I use to make all of the bubble what do we call it, the body wash, that's the word. So that's those sort of ingredients. We've got a few more waxes, some beeswax, and my rice bran wax. This is actually grown up here at the Sunshine Coast, so really pleased to have a local ingredient. We've got all of our clays, so these are the things that I use but not very often, so I've got all my clays up there, and then all the things I rarely use are actually across the top shelf there. They're still nice and accessible, they're nice and light, so it doesn't matter that they are up so high. And then I've got all of my extracts and vitamins and goodies in there. Well, this shelf will be dedicated to the water for soaping, and then this one, if the price comes down, will be dedicated to olive oil. If it doesn't come down, we are redoing our soap formula because it's just getting to be more expensive than gold olive oil is. So that will be dedicated to a few soaping oils. We'll have some equipment on that shelf, and then hopefully we'll have another shelf in here where all of the fragrances will sit as well. So it is looking really good. Hopefully this works really well for me here. And then across the bottom we have all the big things like the citric acid, the bicarb, other bits and pieces as well. So I'm really pleased with what I have managed to get done. I've already got in my head what I am going to do tomorrow, what I need to get packed into the car. I am still waiting for Greg to actually turn up. It is 3:30. I'm going to give him a ring in a minute and see what time he actually deems afternoon to be, because I'm shattered. I really would like to go home, but what I will do, I'll give him up until about 4 o'clock. I am going to put another coat of varnish onto these benches, and then I'll give him a call. If he's still on his way up here, I'll just tell him he'll have to meet me at the house rather than at the shop, because then I'm going to head home, pack the car with some more stuff to bring down tomorrow, and we're going to do some more stuff in the morning. I do then have to go back home for the afternoon, because hopefully the Miele man is going to turn up and fix our oven. So that is me for today. Alright, so I am down at the shop. I'm really flushed because I have just brought in a whole heap more stuff into the shop. I'm much later down here than what I actually anticipated to be. I did take Pepper for her walk this morning, and I had the car all loaded up, ready to come over. I started to come over at 7:30 to bring the first load, and I was going to bring a couple of loads over and then head back home for the afternoon for the oven. I was about 5 minutes from home when I got the message saying, we'll be there to fix your oven in half an hour. It's like, you've got to be kidding. Like, this just throws me for a spin. Luckily I hadn't gotten too far away from home, which meant that I could easily turn around and get back to the house. Once you kind of cross from where we are into Caloundra area, the traffic is just bedlam, and it would have taken me just as long to, get to that point to get back home again, sort of thing. It was, yeah, luckily he got me at a good time. So I went back and I sat around waiting for him. Of course, we need spare parts. It's going to cost a fortune. Yeah, not nice thoughts were running through my head about the gentleman that sold us this house. The guy actually said to me, once it's fixed, as long as you're using it regularly, you won't have a problem. He said, I don't think this oven has been used. I said, I've got a feeling it's been used once because there were some watermarks. I said, but otherwise I don't think it has. And he said, yeah, that's probably why it's broken. I don't understand why they put the whole kit and caboodle of Miele into the kitchen. And I said to him, well, it's going to be expensive, but it's better than having just a pretty piece stuck to the wall that I can't use, or can't use, like, it's just a decorative sort of thing. So he's ordered the part. He's going to come back in 2 weeks' time. I've come down to the shop. My plans have changed again. I was going to drop a load of stuff off, go home and come back with another load. But it is bedlam out there. They've closed the Esplanade front off, so all the traffic's been redirected through here, so I can't get spots to park out the front. Really, really difficult. And the traffic's just horrendous out there. So I'm going to unload what I've got here, then head back home, and hubby and I are going to go to some markets this afternoon. So I might say to him, I'll load my car up, and on the way through to the markets, we'll stop here, unload everything. So I've got a load for tomorrow as well. So I'm going to get on to unpacking what I did bring down. So I've just had to have a bit of a change of plans. I was going to put this together. I've had this board. This was actually in the shed at the old house, and I pulled it down with the intention of putting my clip balms onto it. So I bought some of the shelf attachment things that IKEA does, and I was just about to put it all together, and it says that there should be 4 of these bolts, and I've been looking and looking and looking, thinking great, I've lost them. Then I've realized it's the bolts that actually come with the board, so they're at home somewhere, so I'll stop looking for those. But what you can see is that I have put what will be the lip balm rack on here, so when I actually put that pegboard together, it will actually peg onto the back of here. In the old shop, it was this really, really dodgy thing that I made up, but it was a little bit in the way, wasn't very stable, so I decided to use the pegboard, get the clips, and they'll actually anchor onto here. And you can see now what I mean. I've put the 50cm one so it butts up against the other units here, and then I'll secure them together. And then when we put 30cm ones in later, I'll kind of just step it back a bit and secure it on to this shelf up here so they actually can't move anywhere, and it will just be a little bit of a step back, but it will stop people from actually stepping up the step as well and hurting themselves. So it is all starting to come together really well. I'm just going to start putting some of these boxes and things away, and then I am going to head back home and go and pack some more stuff in the car. I did put some more candles and diffusers out, so it's looking a little bit better, but yeah, we're getting there. We're slowly getting things out of boxes. I've got a big box here with pots, pans and stuff in, so I'm going to start working out where all of this stuff is going to go. Saturday morning. I did have the shop relatively clean when I left yesterday, but we are in absolute chaos again. Last night, hubby and I went out to a market together. It was just a food market. We decided we're going to have some dinner and just go and check out the local area, see what's around, that sort of stuff. And I did say to him as we left, can we please stop off at the shop and just take down another truckload of stuff? I just couldn't get down here yesterday after I left. The traffic was just chaos out there. It took me a while to actually get back out of here. So we brought down a big truckload, we dumped it all and then went off for dinner. And then this morning I have just brought down another big load. I've brought down my big candle melt tanks, so we're going to get those up. I got confirmation yesterday from the electrician. He's going to be here on Wednesday to put my extra power plugs in. The signage people, they're going to come and measure the sign on Monday to make sure I gave them the right measurements. They'll print it on Tuesday and install it on Friday, so it's all coming together well. That was the other thing I sorted out last night, was my internet. No one's had NBN in this shop before, and they reckon it's a minimum 2 weeks to get someone to come out and have a look, which I just don't have 2 weeks to do that. So I'm having to go with a mobile broadband plan, but the company I've gone with, they're actually a little local company, husband and wife team, really, really nice people, did our internet at home, very, very personal service. They don't, however, supply the modem, so I'm having to actually buy my modem myself. The good thing is though, that means I'm not under any contract or anything, so I can have it for as long or as little time as I want, but I am having to buy a modem, and they're expensive. Now I know why you get locked into plans. It's about $600 for the modem, so that should be here next week, and we'll get the internet in, and hopefully I'll be ready for a soft opening on Friday. But we're not going to be ready unless I get on to putting some of this stuff away. maybe slightly addicted to spatulas. I don't know what happened. When I was in the shop, I somehow only got myself down to maybe 1 or 2 of these, so I actually went and bought 5 more. But you can see we've got an awful lot more in there than what I thought I had. So I don't know where they were hiding, but they seem to have all wanted to come down to the new shop. So I have an abundance of spatulas and fragrance. Good morning, it is Monday. I'm down the shop. I've brought all the stock down with me. I haven't done a lot of recording over the last couple of days because really it is just the same old, same old. Yesterday, Sunday, hubby had the day off from his job, and I conned him into coming to help me put some shelves up on the wall just to give myself a little bit more space. So you can see he put this one up for me. I had something similar in the Cleveland shop out the back, and this is where I kept all like the extracts, the little bottles of oils, things like that. He hates putting up shelves, so I'm really, really grateful to him for putting these up, especially because these ones aren't actually easy. They've got like this locking system. You put the shelves in and then you've got to get it to the exact measurement to make sure that the shelves actually fit in these, but they're actually really, really, really good shelves. And then out in this area, that is the shelving for the candle fragrances, and then on this side that's going to be my rainbow of micas. I haven't actually put all the shelves on there yet because the electrician comes on Wednesday and he's going to put a PowerPoint on that wall, so I've actually got to clear all of the botanicals back off that top shelf. But the piece that I love that he did the most, look at that up there. That sign was in the Cleveland shop as well, but I'm telling you that this is just absolutely perfect for this shop. So when people actually walk through the door, that is there for them. It is a little bit dark down the back of the shop. I'll have to see if I can get some little spotlights or something to plug in just to make it a bit brighter. But I absolutely love how that sign has come together. And once we've got that big rainbow wall of micas and the fragrances up there, it's going to look so super spectacular. Hubby and I have just brought down all of the stock from out of the front room of the house, and I'm going to actually start putting these on the shelves so people can start to see what is coming. Today the sign people are going to turn up at some point and they are going to put a coming soon sticker on my front window, as well as measure up the little light box sign. I did an IKEA run yesterday with hubby and I bought these awesome cubes. These are actually Ivar cubes, and I bought them just to do a bit of a display with. I've put some near the front door down here, and as I was putting them together, I actually realized they've actually designed them so you can put them inside the shelving, so you actually end up with cubes within the Ivar system. But that's not how I'm going to use them. But I was really impressed. One thing I'm not impressed about though, and it's gonna do my head in, absolutely. I love these trolley things. They all just sit underneath my my shelving, and it just finishes them off nicely and it allows me to put excess stock. I actually need 10 of them with the way, because we've got 4 there, 3 across there, and another 3 across there, and I've only got 9. And guess what IKEA Australia no longer sells? I can see they still sell them in Europe, but they don't sell them here in Australia anymore, and I just need 1 more. I am absolutely gutted that I don't have one, but I'm sure I will work something out. But the plan for today is to get some music going, and I'm going to start putting stock on the shelves so that people can see what really is coming, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll bring down the last of the little bits that need to go in here. And then on Wednesday, once I've got my PowerPoints in, you don't need to see my hand in the camera there, once I've got my PowerPoints in, I'm going to start topping up what is missing. So I'll be making some candles, some lotions and that sort of stuff, making sure that I'm all ready for Friday. So enough yakking, let me start unpacking the stock. I am so excited. It's going to look so good. Alright, I have had a super busy day. It is about 2:30 on a Friday and I actually have my doors open for the first time today, just having a bit of a soft opening, getting used to where everything is, making sure that things are in place where I need them to make it easier to do sales and that sort of thing. I've had a few people coming through. I've had quite a number of people coming through to have a look, and they're definitely local, saying they'll be back in for Christmas presents and stuff. I've also had a customer come in who used to come and see me in Cleveland, so that was really exciting as well. But it has been a very good day. I haven't done much recording because as I've said a few times, sometimes when you've got like a job that takes 10 minutes to do, when you start recording it, that 10-minute job suddenly takes 15 or 20 minutes, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything up and ready to go this morning. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of what the shop looks like, starting with what I saw this morning when I came into the shop. We'll just come out of the doors. So that is my new sign. It was put up yesterday afternoon after I left the shop, and I absolutely love it. And here is the shop front. I do have to work on it a little bit, put a few more things in the window to show people what we've got. And I want to get myself a little baby bathtub to go in this corner, but it will also be where I put things like the Christmas tree and Halloween stuff. When we come in, I've got this bit of a display here. At the moment it's got all clearance things on it, but it really is to stop people from climbing up onto the step and hurting themselves. What I loved about this shop is that we do have a ramp into it, making it very accessible. And when you come in, the first thing you'll see is the checkout counter, and you can actually then start to see me doing some work. You can see we've got a beautiful rainbow of micas up on the wall, along with our essential oils, botanicals, and then all of the candle stuff over here. And that sign that's up there above the door, I love it. Every time I walk in and see it, I absolutely love how it's come together. Try and spin you around without making people too sick. This is the inside of the shop, and I decided to pretty much keep it as a very similar sort of setup to what I had in Cleveland. Originally I did think I'd put a center table through the middle, but it does make it difficult if you've got prams, wheelchairs and that sort of thing, trying to navigate around tables. And you know, if you've got shopping bags with you, you're constantly watching to make sure you're not knocking things off the shelf. So for now I've decided to leave it as a nice big open area. It may change as we get into seasons and I need more space. We don't know, we'll see what happens. But as you come around the corner, you've got all of the different soaps and the shower fizzers here. Then we've got the lip balms and the heat packs all on the next counter. And then we come around to all the bath and body stuff, and I'm slowly trying to restock everything to get it onto the website. I did make a batch of the relaxing magnesium lotion, but I don't know what I've done. I've obviously done something wrong because it wasn't even a lotion. It was so runny, I've had to just bin the whole lot. I must have mismeasured how much emulsifying wax went into it or something. I really don't know, but I'll have to remake it. And then we've got all of the candles and melts. I've finished restocking all the candles. I will have to restock the diffusers, which I'll either do this afternoon or tomorrow, which is Saturday, another soft opening sort of day. So a lot of the stuff that you see here is what I had in the old shop. So I use a lot of the Ivar shelving system. I did go and buy a couple of new ones to get the correct height. I had to buy new legs, but all the shelving and everything that came from out of the old shop. The other thing I did buy brand new were these cubed Ivar boxes, and they just fit in perfectly with everything else I've got. And I've had to do away with the lovely melt box my dad made me a few Christmases ago. It has now seen better days and it just wasn't going to survive another move. So I've now actually got all of the melts laid out like this. We can put more on display, and as you can see, I do need to make a few more, so that will be a next week job. And then we've got all of our beautiful oil burners underneath and the unscented tea lights. And then you can actually see my big working space. And look at these beautiful flowers. These turned up this afternoon, and they are from my parents wishing me all the best. Lots of beautiful buds in there as well, so they should last a while. And it's nice and cool in the shop as well, so definitely get a long life out of them. So that is the shop area, and then you come through into my making area, and I have again pretty much set it up the same way we had in the Cleveland shop. I do have a little bit more length space going this way, so I've been able to separate things a little bit more. So this will be my sort of candle making area. Again, they're Iva drawers, not Iva, they're IKEA drawers, they're the Alex ones, but I am actually going to change this tabletop. I made this tabletop when I had my shed in the old house, and it is actually quite low. So you can see the stainless steel bench, that is the standard height, and then you can see that that bench is quite low. And originally I made it that low on purpose, and that was so that I could actually fill the big wax tanks up easily, you know, scooping the wax into them. But these days a lot of the wax is now coming in slab form, so I can just heave them into the tanks rather than the little pellet forms where when you scoop them it just goes everywhere. What I discovered the other day when I was making all the candles is that table is now just too low with this kind of setup that I've got going on behind me here. So because this white table is low, that's really the only place I could really get the scales in. You can see that's kind of a cantilever top on the top there, so I didn't want to push my tanks too far down and bend it. So I've got my scales in there, but I was actually getting quite a sore back, not because it was positioned so far away, but because it was down. So I have ordered myself another one of these silver tables, which should be here next week, and it is actually about, I think it's 20 centimeters shorter than this, which shouldn't matter too much because once it's at the same height I'll actually get more workable space, but it will also give me a bit more space behind my counter here. And talking of the counter, this is it. I've got a brand new printer down here. It arrived yesterday. I've bought myself another EcoTank printer. For those that caught the Cleveland shop vlog when I opened that up, I did buy an EcoTank then, and I absolutely love that printer, and I have never bought ink for it. In 3 years I have not bought ink for that printer, and it works like a horse for me. And there is still I think the colours have got about a third of the ink left, and the black has got about half of one left. I did get twice the amount of black ink than I did the colour ink, and I'm almost out of the black now, but it has worked so hard for me and it's still going. And the only reason, as I said earlier, I've had to get rid of it, well, I haven't got rid of it, it's at home to do basic home printing. When we moved it, I didn't have the travel caps to put in it, and I still don't know where the travel caps are for this one. So when you actually move these EcoTanks, the ink sloshes around in them, gets into the printer, and then all of a sudden they just don't print very well. So with this printer, I had to buy a new one so I could actually do my signage and stuff around the shop. I don't do a lot, but I still wanted it to be nice, so I did invest in a new one. I highly recommend those EcoTanks. They are an investment in the printer, but when you don't have to buy ink for 3 years, definitely worth the savings there. And then have my big label printer and the Munbin printer under there. We've got the till as well. It is a little bit lower down, but that's quite a good thing because no one can kind of lean over. And then I actually bought myself a drawer this time rather than dodging up myself one like I did in the last shop, to keep all of the paper. And then we've got all of the bags and shelving. One of the things I did notice I was really missing were the drawers that I had in the old shop. So I went to the one place that I hate shopping the most, and so many of you are going to go, but I love it there. I went to Kmart. I hate Kmart. I hate the checkout system. I hate everything about it. Bring back the early 2000s when they were actually still a decent shop, I say. But anyhow, we won't go on about Kmart. I did get myself this awesome storage piece that just holds the bags nicely so that they're not tumbling out. But then I spotted these little drawer systems here, and they were kind of just the right sort of size to go in here to give me the couple of drawers to put all of these bits on. I needed drawers to put all those labels in rather than having them on shelves that go back quite a way and possibly losing them all. And I figured it was cheaper to buy these drawers than to buy a whole heap of plastic container things to store things in. So I've just had to very quickly stop recording because look, my best friend over in Perth and her family have just sent me some flowers and some gin. I'm definitely going to need that after the weekend, and this is a local gin as well. I've seen them around, I just haven't yet tried it, so that would be lovely. Thank you so much, Joe. They are absolutely gorgeous. And then let's go on to the next slide. So this is all my sort of packing station. You can see I've got another set of those drawers down there. Just again makes it easier for storage. And this is pretty much all set up how I had it in the Cleveland shop. And then this is kind of where it goes different. I have all my soap stuff in this counter. They used to be up on a shelf, and I just didn't want to put another shelf up. I didn't want to ask Hubby to do that. So that's where all the soap molds are going. And then I'm keeping all the spare lip balm containers and all my candle stuff in there, like the candle jars and lids. And then again, pretty much the same sort of thing over here. You can see the electrician, he put in a 4 PowerPoint thing there for me and a 4 PowerPoint over there. He did also put one over near my computer as well, and that it's just made things so much easier. I don't have all these cables everywhere. But a lot of this sort of stuff, this is all IKEA kitchen method cabinets. And then my bench tops here, these are actually from Bunnings. I just went and bought the pine bench tops. They were $89 a top compared to the IKEA ones, which were about $179, so huge difference there. And then this wooden thing here where I've got all this stuff piled on there, that's something that hubby and I made in the last shop, and it just allows me to put all my shipping labels and bits and pieces. I packed the very first order that I've had while in the shop as well. This is for William. I know he watches me on here, so thank you so much. I'm going to take your parcel down to the post office this afternoon. I'm sure you'll have it by the time this video comes up, but you are the first one to have your order packed in the brand new shop, so thank you for that. We then come through the curtain into the mess, and I actually do want to find myself a different curtain. At the moment, I've got just a little bit of a mess in here. It's not too bad. Behind me is a little bit worse. I've decided I'm going to retire the little wooden step stools that I had and keep this set of, sorry, I had a customer come in. It's been such a great day. Anyhow, as I was saying, I have decided to keep this set of step ladders down here. My shelving is a little bit taller than what it was in the other shop because I do have higher ceilings in here. So I've decided to keep that down here because it's taller and it's safer. I know so many of you had a go at me for constantly climbing up and down those little step stools with, you know, nothing to hold on to. So I'm going to keep the step ladder down here. It is much safer, I know. This is going to be my little kitchen area where I can do some lunches and things like that, because although there's food places available here, none of them are kind of close enough for me to shut the door and run up and go and grab something to eat. I could do that in Cleveland, but I just don't get that sort of thing here. And I've had a lot of people coming in and out, which is a really good problem to have, but it does mean I won't be able to pop out and go and get lunches and things like that. So that's going to be my little kitchen area. The soap cure rack is in here now. It's not out in the main area of the shop anymore. There was just no room to put it, and I know so many people used to love coming into the shop to see what was on the cure rack, but it didn't matter how many times I tried to redo the layout, I just could not get it out there. And then we have this bit, which is actually a bit of a mess because I do need to take some of it downstairs into my storage area. I was trying to find the padlock last night so I could actually lock it up. I have found it, just haven't got to take stuff down. That's the box for the printer. I'm going to get rid of that. I actually bought the ET2810, and one of the reasons I went for this one, not only was it small and compact, I believe this is the printer that a lot of people say to use for sublimation printing. So I actually wanted to see what it was like printing just on normal paper, what sort of quality that I get, and if I get the quality that I'm after, I'm going to hopefully get one to do some sublimation printing with as well. I've got a few ideas for that. I've got to take my baskets back home. I took them home yesterday because I was told my wire baskets were going to arrive. Then I got home and there was no wire baskets, and I got a message later that night saying we ran out of time, we couldn't deliver. So I brought the baskets back down here with me, and then I've had another message to say that they've now been delivered, so they got to go back home with me this afternoon. And then we've got that good old faithful silver trolley. That's an IKEA trolley as well, and I highly recommend it if you ferry things around in your kitchen or workspace a lot. It's still as stable and sturdy as the day I got it. Wasn't cheap. I think it was almost $200. It was not cheap at all, but it has been so useful. It gives me extra storage space, and it's in really, really good condition for being 3 years old. And then next to that is my little diffuser oil trolley that's got all those bits on. My big trolley that's got to go down into the cage later on, as well as some of these spare bulbs that were left, and that's all got to go home as well. And this is my sort of kitchen area. I really do need to get the dishwasher down. I'm just not sure if it's going to connect to, this is more of a commercial style kitchen. I've got to see if it can actually get it connected on there. Hopefully it will, because it will make things a lot easier. These are really big commercial sinks, and they kill your back to do washing up in them. Not that I like doing washing up anyway, but there we go. And then out through this door takes you into the back alley, or the back sort of space, and there's a bathroom out there for me to use, and then there's another door which actually takes you back out, and then you can get down into the undercover car park. I'll stop showing you that big mess. Okay, so there it is. That is the Caloundra shop, what it looks like, and it is now open as well. I know I haven't done too much filming. Again, some of it was just very, very repetitive, me doing the same things again and again and again. And also today, as you've seen, I have been quite busy in the shop with people coming and going. Just in those few minutes of doing the tour, we've had a couple of people coming in as well, so I'm having to constantly stop. Again, brilliant problem to have. It is exactly what I wanted when we moved shop, to have that more flow through of walk by traffic coming through, and it is definitely proving to be that way. It is going to make it a little bit harder to do as many videos. I will try and do some. There may be a slight changes in how the videos are made. They may be a little bit more musical rather than talking. I have got a wonderful hairdresser next door, and we hear lots of giggling and laughing coming from them. It is a really, really nice environment. They're called, the owner's called Becky. She's really, really nice, but it does make it a little bit harder to do those videos. And you can see that we've also got quite dull lighting in here. It does actually appear quite bright, but it is actually quite dark at the back here, so I need to work something out to do with lighting and where to position the cameras. But I will work on that, because I know so many of you will be cross if I don't bring you videos out. They just might be structured a little bit differently moving forward. But I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I set up the Caloundra shop. If you do have any questions, leave them down in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I am a little bit slower these days with responding, because there is just so much going on at the moment, but I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for joining me, and until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I will see you then. Bye.